Good morning. Hello. I am Kim Kesty, Creative Director at Fun Stamper's Journey, and I am super excited to bring to you the Make and Take portion of FSJ Live. Now, some of you might be watching this Make and Take portion before the actual live show, in which case that's exciting. Welcome. We're going to be presenting all 4 cards for the Make and Takes for you, and if you are watching after the live, so this is where it gets a little tricky, then I want to say welcome back because you've already watched our live show. So it'll be kind of fun to play with those time zone things and whatever as we go through the Make and Takes. So again, welcome, and the Make and Take session, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of how it's going to be a tiny bit different than our normal Make and Take sessions. Generally, most of it, 99% of it's going to be exactly like you've seen in the previous shows. I'm going to walk through step by step, all 4 projects, show you all the fun tips, all the fun techniques. But the only thing that's going to be a little bit different is that when we get to a point in the card process where maybe something might take a little bit more time, maybe you're doing a little die cutting, maybe you're doing a little coloring, we might go ahead and freeze the camera. So I might call out for a funny word called freeze frame. I think that's our key word. And we're going to go ahead and pause, and just for a few seconds. So in case you're at home viewing, that will give you a chance to go ahead and pause this pre-recorded video. And then you can take as much time as you want to, do all that die cutting, maybe even take that opportunity to go grab a quick snack or something. But again, when I say those words freeze frame, keep in mind it's only going to freeze for a few seconds, just long enough for you to hit your mouse or your, remote control or whatever to freeze the actual card process. Otherwise, we're just going to go right along at our normal pace. So I'm super excited to be bringing the Make and Take cards to you. Do you guys love the new images in spring into summer? Oh, we had so much fun picking out the stamp sets to send to you for these 4 cards. And if you haven't seen the FSJ Live, oh my gosh, I can't wait to reveal all the rest of the exciting things we have in the spring into summer catalog. So awesome. Let's take a look at the box that you got in the mail. So this little cutie came to you sometime in the last week or 2. And you love the new logo? Isn't it fun and fresh? It's got all that bright color happy. It's kind of what Fun Stamper's Journey is all about, right? So I've already unpacked my box, but I wanted to give you another glimpse of that little cutie. So I'll set that aside. Clunkety clunk, there we go. So this is our new set, by the way. If you guys are watching for the first time, isn't it cute? Kind of fun, kind of bright and cheerful. That's what I think spring into summer is all about, right? Spring into summer is kind of that interesting catalog period between holidays, I think, really. So our Bloom This Way catalog had tons of Easter, Valentine's, very springy elements. And then our Journey Holidays, which will debut later on in the year, of course, is all about Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas. But spring into summer is that really fun, unique time where we can kind of experiment with some different stamp options. We can give you some, different things that are not holiday related, right? So that's exactly what we've done. So let's pull out the first card that we're going to do. If you haven't unpacked your kits, you might want to take a look. The first card we're going to do is the Darling Little Bicycle one. So the kit you're going to be looking for is the one with the pink cardstock in it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that out. So we've got all the fun little pieces that Karina and the team have kitted for you. We've got a little window frame. What you want to reach for first is this piece of color splash sheet. So this is our watercolor paper. These smaller pieces we're going to set aside just for a minute, because we kind of want to do the messy background first, right? I love the messy stuff. So we're going to set this aside. Do you guys like getting messy? I do. It's so much fun. So other tools you might want to grab right now are a media mister. So this is filled with just plain water. And then we want to grab a couple of our color splashes. So we've got Catalina Splash and Lovely Blue. Those are the 2 main colors we're going to work with right now. And then also grab a clear block. Now you may want a clear block if you have one of the backer sheets from the card sets. You could also use what we call a workable sheet. That's just a clear piece of plastic. Maybe some of you even have one of those fancy nonstick craft sheets. You can use that too. So whatever you have handy, go ahead and grab it. So we're going to make kind of a really fun sky, cloudy, just really dreamy background with the splash sheet. So what you want to do first is go ahead and just load up some plain water on your block. And for our background, we want most of it to be Lovely Blue. So we're going to go ahead and put probably 3 or 4 drops of Lovely Blue. You can see how it's going to react with the water already and just give you kind of this fun look. Okay, sorry I did 5. Then we're going to just do maybe 2 of Catalina. I'll do 1 here and 1 up in this corner. So again, you want more lovely blue and less Catalina. Now this is where it gets a little more messy. I'm going to add more water. Kind of watch how those colors blend. Isn't it fun? The liquid color really is kind of an awesome watercolor look. And guess what? I'm going to add more water to the color splash sheet. Can you believe it? Water, water everywhere. This splash sheet really holds a lot of water, so don't be shy about getting a nice saturated piece. You could even put a little on the back. That'll help prevent curling. If you only water one side, you'll notice that it curls up a lot. So I think that feels pretty good. Now, the fun part. We're just going to come in. Oh, we're not going to go straight to that, though. I forgot my tricky part here. Don't forget the tricky part, Kim. So we're taking another block. So this would be, the one I'm using is the F block. You actually could also use the little bit smaller block E. So either one, whatever you have. I'm going to use the F block. So we're going to do kind of a fun smooshing technique. So we're going to go ahead and put the block here. So right away you can see that all those colors blended really pretty. We're going to pick it up. Sure it's nice and smushed. And then go straight to our watercolor paper. Can you see how light and pale and dreamy that's looking? Ooh, I love that. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more. Just smoosh a little bit more in here. So again, you can kind of work, because your color splash sheet is covered in water, you can kind of work with it and it's not going to soak in quite so fast. So again, smoosh it around. I like the puddling there. I'm going to spritz a little bit more water in that puddle so it can work around. So I kind of want a really pretty sky background. Oh yeah, let me tilt it so you can see the camera a little bit better. So see how this is almost looking like clouds? So again, instead of taking the liquid color straight from my block to the paper, I used the block as an intermediary, and that's what gave me that really soft look. I love that. So I'm going to stop right there. And I'm going to use our magic words right now. I'm going to say freeze frame because I'm going to let this dry for just a minute or two. So let me kind of tilt it right. Get my block over here. There, so you can get a nice view of that. So I'm going to go ahead and call for a freeze frame, and we're going to let that dry. So what did you think of that? Pretty tricky, right? So whenever we do that freeze frame, that's just your cue to pause. And if you don't need to pause, if you're already caught up with me, then just keep on rolling. I kind of like that. Okay, so one thing I didn't show you when we started was our cute little booklet. So you can see that I have my piece here drying. It's still just a tiny bit damp, so we're going to let that dry a few more minutes while we work on the rest of the card. But don't forget that all of your card instructions are in this darling little booklet that came in your box. So again, if you ever are confused about what's going on, or if you're doing this, much later, just always refer to your directions in your book. It's got the card photo and everything. So just wanted to remind you of that. Don't forget that little cutie. Okay. So now we'll bring in the card pieces for the rest of the card and keep working on that while our background dries just a few more minutes. Sound good? All right, so we've got a couple different pieces of whipped cream cardstock. And we've got 2 that are exactly identical. See these 2? They're exactly the same size. We're going to use those to stamp the cute little bicycle. So these are the next 2 you want to grab, the 2 that are exactly the same. Grab our black licorice and our cute little bike ATS. Isn't this a darling? So it's a scenic route bike. It's got the bike with the little flowers and the cute little sentiment. Love this one. Get him on a clear block here. So again, we're going to stamp the little bicycle twice because we want to fussy cut part of the little bouquet. So you'll need 2 images. Ink this guy up. Who doesn't love our black licorice ink, right? It's like the best ever. So again, you want a nice clear impression, so you just go straight down, straight back up. Gorgeous. And one more time. Fun part about stamping this way is that you can color the image on the one, and on the image, the original image that's behind doesn't have to be colored at all. So it kind of gives a really unique pop of color in an otherwise black and white image. I love that. Okay, we'll set that aside. Now I'm going to go ahead and start coloring one of the images, and I'm going to use our amazing Color Burst pencils. So you guys love the pencils, right? Who picked up the pencils when they were on a really fun sale during the 12 days of deals in December? Right? Everybody. I think some of you picked up a second set, which is an amazingly good idea because you always need an extra set like to take to a show or to show customers. It's kind of fun to keep one set like really pristine, and then have the other set where you just dive in and do all the coloring. So you can definitely take any colors you want to color the little bouquet. We picked a few different shades of pink. I'm going to throw a little orange in there. Oh, probably a little green too. So I'm just going to take a minute or two and color in our cute little bouquet. And again, you guys can color it with the Color Burst pencils. You could grab your Color Splash pencils and use them. Really doesn't matter. You're just going to want to get a fun variety of colors in your fun little bouquet. Makes me want to hop on a bike and go to the local farmer's market, right? Go pick myself up a bouquet of flowers. Ooh, pressed a little too hard on that one, right? I'm getting excited, you guys. I think I want to grab a little more red too. I got to find a red pencil. Oh, I'll do one more. Do this guy up here. So again, what's fun about coloring is there's really no right or wrong about coloring. You can just go in and do any shape, any shade you want. I'll grab my number 1. We listed some colors in the booklet for you guys to refer to, but you know what? Anything goes. Use any color you want. If you don't like red flowers, then make them all pink. Make them all orange. What about blue? We didn't make any blue flowers. I'm just being silly. But again, coloring is one of those unique things where you need to do whatever makes your heart happy. Do a little bit darker pink in here. The Color Burst pencils also shade really beautifully. So like if you go in and do a lighter pink, you can come in on the edges with a little bit darker. See if we can get the camera, yeah, nice and close. So you just come around the edges, and you really don't even need anything to blend them with. If you were going to get really fancy, you could get a little bit of baby oil and blend those colors together. But you don't even need that. So I'll take another shade of orange and come in around the edges here. See how fun? So you really just want these flowers to pop. And then with my green, I'm going to come in and do the stems. And this time I'm not really worried about coloring right inside those lines because that wouldn't be quite enough green to make my heart happy. So I'm just going to come in and do a little extra green shading here. See how I really went outside the lines? It's all good. These are like little buds that haven't budded out yet. So cute. I'll do one more red flower over here. So fun. I love how the bouquet just really comes to life with all those flowers. Super cute. Okay, so let me put the pencils aside real quick. Finished with those for now. I always keep my Color Burst handy because, you know, you got to have them handy to use all the time. Now I'll get my detail shears, and what we're going to do is just come around and just cut a few of these flowers out. You can go around the entire bouquet, or you can just cut out individual flowers and pop them up. Either way is just fine. I'm going to pretty much pop up this whole bouquet. Do you guys see how I'm using the detail shears where I'm really turning my paper and not turning the scissors quite as much? That's how you get some nice smooth cuts for your fussy cutting. Instead of trying to, you know, ratchet your scissors all the way around, you just gently move the paper. Fun little tip for those who are not as familiar with fussy cutting. What we love about Fun Stampers Journey is that we have so many of our stamps that match dies that you don't always have to do the fussy cutting, right? But not all. And this is really tight fussy cutting. This is tighter than you would normally get with a die. So it's kind of fun to do once in a while. So super fun. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fussy cut the bicycle. And I think we're going to do one of those tricky freeze frames again. Because as I start to go around my bicycle, you guys probably don't really want to sit and watch me cut the whole bicycle, do you? Do you? Nah. Okay, so I'll do a little freeze frame here with my detail shears. And we'll give you guys just a few seconds to cut out your bicycle. Be right back. All right, we are back, and I've got my bicycle all done. You guys want to check it out? Here we go. And so now we're going to do a little bit more of our stamping. So little bicycles fussy cut there. Let's stamp our last two images. So this time I'm going to reach into our small thing stamp set. So cute, the butterflies, right? Our illustrator Kara did this set, and we were just so happy with it and super excited about the beautiful sentiments that go along with it, right? So we're going to do this little guy, again in black licorice. Oh, no, we're not. We're not doing that guy. We're doing the little one. Sorry. Let's do the little one. Grab my block. We're going to do him also, like I said, in black licorice. Where'd my black licorice go? Here it is. And then we'll quickly do the sentiment, too. All right, so pretty. And then the sentiment we're going to use is the little one that says, nurture your dreams. Love our index stamps. Oops, needs to go on that way. That probably works better, right? See, with the clear block, when it has these grid lines on here, I love that you can line up your stamp and just get it pretty straight. We are fussy cutting this one, so it's not so critical, but it's a fun thing to keep in mind when you are doing sentiments that you want to keep nice and straight on your cardstock. So there's Nurture Your Dream. So fun. Does this feel summery to us? It feels like spring into summer, like summer's coming. Oddly enough, even though I live in Arizona, summer is like my favorite time of the year. Is that crazy? I think I'm kind of crazy. But I just love the long days where the sun is out longer. We recently moved to a new home about a year ago, and we're only about 20 minutes from a lake here in Arizona called Lake Pleasant, and it's so amazing. So we really enjoy going out there. So now I'm just fussy cutting the sentiment. If you were fancy enough to get the die set, I'm going to pull it out. You will actually not have to cut out the sentiment because you have a matching die. But I'm not going to die cut on stage, so I'm going to go the long route in case for those of you who didn't get this die set, I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut this. But if you have the die set, you could die cut it. That would be really cool. And if you didn't get the die set, I bet you're thinking to yourself now, I think I might need that die set. Kind of fun. So again, I'm not being real accurate about going around these letters, but just kind of following the curve of the little hand-drawn sentiment here. We're going to pop it up on the bottom of our card, so it's kind of fun to give it that extra dimension, right? Very cool. And I'm also going to quickly cut out the butterfly, too. This one does have a matching die also, but fussy cutting is good practice. Good practice for our manual dexterity. We are going to color the butterfly, and I won't freeze frame this time because I'll just show you a couple little tips for coloring it. We're going to kind of do it in a little ombre coloring style. So I'm going to grab a few of my pencils back out. This time I want all of my pinks and a little bit of my red, and then the very center I'm going to bring back a little bit paler orange. So we're going to start in the center of the butterfly and move out and just kind of get that really pretty ombre sort of variegated look. So let's start with our lightest color in the middle. So you just kind of want to feather it out. So see how I'm going to color. I'll go a little higher. Kind of follow a few of the lines in the veining. Just kind of, you know, so I'm not being super accurate. I'm just kind of giving a little flare there. Then I want to go with my next lightest, which is the pink. And by the way, this is number 5. And again, if you want to use different pencils, that's perfectly fine too. So see how we're just kind of coming in with, again, that same technique. And you can see without even any kind of oil or anything, how these colors start blending so beautifully together already. They're really creamy pencils. Love that. Then we're going to go to our next darker shade. This one I picked out was number 4. So again, repeating that same idea. Blending, blending, blending. Look how those two pinks blend together. Oh, I love it. I hope you all enjoy coloring. It's so fun. And then we're going to take our very last one, which is a little bit more toward the red. It's kind of an orange red. It's number 14. And you can kind of see where I ended the coloring like along the dots. I went a little bit over, but then you can just come in with your very last shade. You could do a pinkier red here or whatever you would like. You could even bring that color in a little bit to kind of blend. So pretty. And the other side. Butterflies are identical, right? Both sides? Well, I think when they're hand colored, they're not identical, but pretty darn cute, if I do say so myself. Now what you want to do is you want to add a little dimension to this little butterfly. And just by gently creasing, see how I'm giving it a little cupped look? Just gently crease it with your fingers. Just going to give him a little fluttery action, right? You can flutter all over my page. So cute. So now we have the main elements for the card front. Should we go ahead and start assembling the card? I think so. I'm going to grab my crease tool. So our card base is a tent fold card, so you just want to fold it right in half and give it a nice crease. There's our card base. Now this is when you want to bring in your frame. Kind of start laying it out there, but right in here is where we're going to bring our sky background. So I want you to kind of use this frame piece to figure out where you want to trim your sky background. So this piece is going to be too big to fit on our card right now. So I have my trimmer here handy. But kind of what I want to do is I want to move this around a little bit until I get exactly where I want to see my sky, right? Does that make sense? Like that feels kind of fun that way. You know, where I can see a lot of this pretty blue. Let's see. This is kind of cool down here though, where it shows the empty. Ooh, gosh, decisions. So hard. I actually do think I like this. I think I like this at the top, how I had it originally. Somewhere around there. What do you guys think? Yeah? Yes? No? That's the only shame about our Make and Takes not being live, is it because you guys can't comment. But if you are watching the FSJ live after we finish this, I want you guys to leave a comment and say, you know, loved the Make and Takes, or that was a fun technique. Maybe tell me what your favorite technique was, what your favorite card is. So definitely if you're watching this before our live, tune in and give me some comments about this, okay? I need the feedback, you guys. I need the feedback. So once I've picked out the blue I want, then I'm just going to go ahead and trim the square. And the dimensions are in your book. I'm going to kind of cheat a little bit and just follow my cutting here and make sure that I'm getting it in. I think it was 3.5. Let's see. Yeah, that's about right. So 3.5 wide. Bring this down a little bit. So trim that guy there. And then the length really isn't quite as important because this is going to cover, you know what I'm saying. This doesn't matter so much. You could trim a little bit away there, but I think we're good. I think the other measurement is like 4.5 if you guys want to trim the bottom, but not really necessary. So what we're going to first do is adhere this guy down to your card base. Got my little spinny thing here. Isn't this handy? Has anyone noticed my new work surface here? This is a new tabletop we have, and I'm loving it. We're going to keep this tabletop when we start our new video studio. I've kind of got Roy on this thing now where we need to have a little bit bigger video room than we've had before. I love doing videos with other people, not just myself in them. But when we bring more people into the video room, then it gets kind of crowded. So I have this grand idea that we should move this set into a little bit bigger area here at the Journey Station. What do you guys think? Are you with me? You gonna back me up? Everyone should send a little note to Roy and say, Roy, do it, do it. Yeah. So what I'm doing now with the frame before I adhere it on the card is I'm going to use our newer silk, which is our beach ball silk. I'm just going to add a little bit of the darker blue around the frame. Shake it up, because see that yummy metallic on the bottom? Can you see that? Kind of already shaking it up. Okay, so we're just going to flick a little bit. Those of you who haven't used silk, kind of what you want to do is just tap it with your first finger and then just do some fun little droplets on there. You can do as much or as little as you want. I don't think I want too much. It does show up a little bit darker when it first lands on your paper. Then as it dries, you'll see the really pretty, kind of sparkly metallic come out. Love it. Okay, we'll let that dry for just a second. In the meantime, I think I'm going to add my little flowers to my bike. Should we do that? Let me grab a foam square. My little foam squares. All our foam squares are back in stock, right? You guys don't have to hoard the medium foam squares anymore. So I'm just putting 2 little foam squares in the back of my blossoms. So then I'm going to match them up on my bike and just kind of pop up those flowers right on top. So cute, right? Just kind of add, makes them look like they're springing right out of that basket. So cute. And then I've got my little butterfly element. Bring my card base back, and now I am going to use those medium foam squares. And go ahead and start assembling. Actually, I'll put some squares here. I think I'm going to do one more little thing before I put the frame on. At the very top of the frame, you've got this little cute goodie bag that Karina packed for you. It's got all the extra little treasures in it, meaning the sequins, your clouds. I'm going to grab out the twine, the little piece of bubblegum twine in here, because I want to tie it around the top of the frame. So this is going to be really simple, and it doesn't have to be perfect. We really kind of want it to be imperfect. You just wrap it around your frame, like as many times as you want. I think I did 3 or 4. Maybe crisscross a little bit in the front there. Right? Cute. Just bring it around and tie it in a little knot. This is kind of giving it a little boho vibe, a little free-flowing vibe here. You should have plenty. You might have to trim a little bit of the extra away. If you wanted to, you could do a little bow, but I don't think it needs a bow. I think it just needs a little cute little string. So see, when we come back to add it to our card, much easier to do that before you started adhering it down, right? Looks like my square needs to be moved over a smidgy. Okay, so a couple more squares, and we will put this on our card front. Peel these guys up. Hope I'm not creating too much of a shadow here. I think I'm going to put 2 more squares here. And I've got the one for this corner on my frame. Isn't that funny? Sometimes I put them here, sometimes I put them here. All depends on how you line them up. Okay, so I get my head in here for a second, make sure it's nice and square. The girls laugh at me here at the station that if it doesn't get really squared up on the card base, I'm like, oh, it's tiny bit crooked. Of course, it doesn't really matter, but you know, sometimes you have to be picky about those little things. I can almost hear Shannon laughing in the other room. Yeah, she gets picky. Okay, so one more thing we need to fussy cut, and that's in your little packet, you'll find a little piece of our pattern paper, and this is a little heart map paper. And so you just want to pick your favorite heart. You really only need one, but we gave you a couple to choose from. What do you think? I kind of like this one with the green. So I'm just going to fussy cut that out a little bit. It's just for a little accent for the card. So again, you have more to choose from. Of course, if you wanted to put more than one heart on your card, you're welcome to do that. But I'm just going to pick one. now, you guys, we're almost done. We have 2 clouds. You want to go ahead and add a little bit of shading to your one cloud. So you can do that with a variety of ways. You can either add ink to it. You can add pan pastel. Let's see what I've got over here. Or you can add liquid color. You can add a little bit of the bubble gum. All I want to do is just add a little bit of pink to the bottom of my cloud. So I think I'll add a little bubble gum. Again, if you have the pink pan pastel, if you have bubblegum ink, you can use bubblegum ink. I'm just going to grab, let's see. We're going to have to hold freeze. I'm gonna get my one sheet now and freeze the frame because I'm going to grab a dauber, which I forgot to get on my table right now. So let's go back to the little card front. And I'll leave a little shot of there so you guys can finish your little heart. And I'm going to grab a dauber, and I will be right back. All right, you guys. Sorry about that. I got my little dauber. Yay! Okay, so that was a quick freeze frame. So hopefully you're caught up now. But what we're going to go back and do is add a cute little bit of pink to our cloud. So I'm just taking my little dauber and just putting it in that little bit. I kind of soaked up all that liquid color. So just kind of even it around there. And then all we're going to do is do the bottom of our cloud. So super simple, super easy. Again, you can do it with ink, you can do it with pan pastel, you can do it with whatever, but I'm kind of addicted to liquid color lately, so I wanted to have just a little extra pink right there. So cute, right? In fact, you could even do this one. It's not going to show up near as much, but you could add a little bit of pink to this one. Can't remember if I did it on the original card, but so cute, right? So that was worth a tiny little freeze frame, right? Just a tiny one, tiny one. Okay, now we're ready to assemble our cards, so let's get to it. We're going to grab the last few things out of this cute little bag that Karina packed for us, and that includes the washi tape. So here's the washi tape. Isn't that fun how she does it on a little piece of wax paper for us? She's so sweet. And you want to use 2 of these. So you want to cut this in half, or rip it in half, I should say. No need to cut it. Just go ahead and rip it. I'll put one temporarily there. First one I kind of want to tuck up under my frame. In fact, I might rip it a little shorter. Kind of want to just tuck it up under here. Just add a little glitter to our sky. Kind of wherever it works for you there. Okay, a little glitter in our sky. And then the other piece, I'm going to come back. I'm going to use my bicycle to kind of place it because I want it to be right underneath my bike. I think my bike's going to go fairly high on the card because I need room for my sentiment. So I think I'll put the tape right about here. Again, no rhyme or reason, no right or wrong, just wherever it works for you. Now we'll start placing the other pieces. I'm going to do my bike first because he's my main element on my card. I'm going to put a single foam square here, and I'm actually going to do up near the top a double foam square because see how this is already popped up with one foam square? So that means at the top of my bike I need 2 to make it sit real level. Kind of an extra little tip for you guys there. So again, I want bike to be kind of right in the window here. So that's the perfect height there and there. Love it. Now my little pink cloud I'm going to tuck into the frame also, but I wanted my bike first so I can kind of see where it goes, right? This one doesn't need a foam square. I'll just use some regular tape runner. But now I can look and see where I've got my bike. So I kind of want it tucked in. I'll do it so it just touches the top of the flower. Cute? Yes. Okay, now I've got my little heart. We're going to do one more little accent on the cloud. Cute little map heart. He's going to just kind of tuck right over the frame. You can kind of overlap that frame even. Because it's kind of like follow your heart, right? Nurture your dream, follow your heart. Love that. Isn't it coming together cute already? So right now I'm going to say that this is my favorite card, but you know, I'll probably change my mind when I get to card number 2. Isn't the card you're working on always your favorite? Usually is for me. So getting our little butterfly, our last cute little accent. He's going to kind of just ride right on this cloud. and be right at the edge of our bicycle. So cute. So the last thing we want to add before we do our journey glaze, don't forget we have that step still, is the sequins and the sentiment. I should say the last two things, right? So let me go ahead and put a little bit of a foam square. And I'm actually going to cut one of the itty bitty foam squares in half because the end of that sentiment is so tiny. So I'll put 2 half pieces. Can you guys see that? 2 full pieces and 2 half. You don't necessarily have to pop up the sentiment, but I think it's really cute. That's just going to kind of overlap the cloud and be right along your washi tape there. So fun. So see, that kind of visually connects all of your pieces together. Love it. Now you have more sequins than you probably need, but you can go to town and add all kinds of sequins. You can add more or less. I like to use our journey dots to adhere the sequins. I'm going to get the end out of my box here. I love this little dispenser, but sometimes you've got to get it all straightened up again. There we go. So I put 5 sequins on my card. Again, you can put more if you want. I know you have more than 5 in your bag because Karina's usually throws a little scoop in there for you. Want to draw the eye up to the heart, so fun. Ooh, I've got backs of foam squares as everything's sticky. It's been so dry in Arizona, everything's sticking to each other. Let's do one more. Okay, love the little sparkle it adds. Now again, the last thing we want to do, and we usually do that at the end of our card, is add a little touch of journey glaze. I like to do it at the very end because when I'm creating the card, I kind of have the habit of putting it in a spot where, you know, it has to dry. So I want to have it completely done so I can put it in a really safe spot so it can dry. So let's grab out our journey glaze. We're going to add a little bit of journey glaze to the butterfly. You can do the whole thing, but I think I'm just going to kind of come in the center. I really just want the glaze to be more toward the middle of the butterfly. And then kind of spread out that journey glaze there. Again, you can do the entire thing if you want, but don't really have to. I'm just going to add a little bit of journey glaze to some of these flowers. I think I'll do all the pinks and the red. So again, love how the journey glaze just adds that little pop of glimmer, that sweet little look. Love it. And then you have one little bag of sparkle dust. Those of you who love sparkle dust probably have your own entire tub of it, but those of you who don't have it, we have a little Ziploc of sparkle dust in there. You want to just sprinkle a last little bit, and guess what? Our card will be done. So cute. I just wish I could see every one of your cards as you're creating them, because I know everyone turns out a little bit different, and I love that. So again, we don't want so much sparkle dust that our butterfly kind of disappears, but just enough to make it really sweet. So I'll tap off the extra. Tap, tap, tap. Sweep some of my sequins aside. And for this card, this is going to be our very last freeze frame, but I know you guys did amazing. I wish I was sitting right there with you and crafting alongside of you, but you know what? This is the next best thing. Let's take a look at our finished card, and we'll go ahead and call for a freeze frame. And those of you who are not caught up can catch up, and we'll be right back with card number 2. See you in a few minutes. And yes, welcome back. Whether that was 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or even just 1 minute. Welcome back. We're going to do card number 2 in our FSJ Live Spring into Summer Kit. So much fun. And bear with me because card number 1 was definitely the most labor intensive. If you guys are kind of sweating to yourself, oh my gosh, Is every card going to take this long? No, of course not. We kind of did our most intensive card first with all those different fun techniques, and then every one of these is going to be definitely a little bit quicker than that first card. So hope you guys are hanging in there. I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun. So card number 2 is the hello card. So what you want to do is grab your little kit that looks like this with the cool pool card base, and we'll go ahead and get started. So let's pull some things out in our kit here. Now, I did do kind of a little bit of a cheat because guess what? I've already die cut a bunch of my hellos. So in this original kit, you would have gotten 6 sheets of black licorice cardstock, and of course your darling, darling, huge hello die. That was like the perfect name for this die, right? Huge hello. So you would go ahead and take this out. And again, I'm going to do just a really quick freeze frame early on in this card just to make sure that you guys have all gotten your die cutting done. But I bet a lot of you did it already. So I've already got some of mine stacked up here, but you will need 6 of your hello dies cut out from this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and freeze that. I'm going to get my hellos all pretty. And then if you haven't die cut, go ahead and die cut, and I'll meet you back here in just a minute. All right, everyone die cut? Yes. So what we're going to do now is stack up those die cuts with a little bit of our Journey adhesive. So we're going to grab a little bit of our craft glue, and I've already started to stack this up. So we'll see if we can kind of zoom in with the camera here and show you guys that I've already started to adhere our pieces of cardstock together. So see how all we're doing is adding a little craft glue. I'll demonstrate the next layer for you, but just want to let you know that I already have a couple of my layers done. So all you do is take your craft glue, which is the amazingly best glue for when you're doing paper to paper adhering. So you're just going to want to run just a little small bead right around your hello. And it doesn't have to be super thick, like that might even be a little too thick there. But you just want your hellos to stand together. So what we're really basically doing is taking those die cuts, and it's kind of like a DIY embellishment. You know how you sometimes see chipboard embellishments, and they're that nice, thick, heavy chipboard? But this is all about creating our own. We could take any of our dies and do this. So again, it's just all about stacking up the dies, lining them up. Grab a little bit of that excess glue, if there is any. So check it out. It's already getting like really fun and sturdy. Like I could bend it, but every layer I add just makes it funner and thicker and heavier. That was my finger adding glue there. That's okay. We're going to do one more layer. Love this. Have you guys ever tried this technique before? I think it'd be super fun to do like with hearts. Like layer up a bunch of hearts and put them as accents on your card. So cute. So again, kind of make sure that glue's spread out. You want to make sure there's glue in most of your key areas so your little thing doesn't fly apart. So here comes my last layer. So fun, such a fun new technique. It's really, because the hello is so huge already, I thought it would be fun to just make it really sturdy and really make it pop on that card. So again, kind of make sure everything's lined up. Exit the glue will dry clear, but if there's any big old, areas, you might want to just touch them up a tiny bit. So fun, love that. It definitely is a huge hello now. It's like the hugest of the huge hellos. Okay, so we'll go ahead and set that aside to dry. It won't take long to dry. And we're going to work on our background. And then after that, it's really just about putting the card together. So this is going to be a fun, quick, and easy one. So let's go ahead and grab our second color splash sheet. So this is the original size it comes in our pack. So we're going to just grab that out, grab our media mister. And this time we're adding all kinds of fun colors. I've got 5 different colors we're going to add to this. So let me lay them out so you guys can see. And again, if you don't have all these colors, you can absolutely substitute for colors you do have at home. But the 5 that I chose are 3 color splashes: watermelon, cool pool, and pineapple. They're all like falling over. There we go. There's 3 color splashes. And 2 liquid colors. So we've got lemon drop and bubble gum. So all of these I'm going to apply with one of my blending brushes, and that is the water blending brushes, or you can put the Fusion in here also, but don't mix the two. If you guys ever try to put Fusion blender in a pen and then accidentally add water, it's not a pretty picture. It gets really gunky. So keep your pens separate, some for Fusion blender and some for just plain water. And this is my water pen. So I'm going to go ahead and add some drops of liquid color. First I'm going to do lemon drop, liquid color, and then at the same time, because it's such a close color family, I'm going to put pineapple at the other end. To add the pineapple, I'm just going to unscrew the top carefully and drop some pineapple on my block. So it's quite a bit lighter than the lemon drop. You guys can see how I'm adding the color there. Super fun. And then I'm going to add a little bit of water from my media mister, but I'm not going to, most of my water is going to come from this pen, like I said, that's full of water. But I can use a little media mister to get it started. I just want it nice and watery, so when I come to my color splash sheet, it's going to create a really fun watercolor background. So definitely want to add a spritz of water to this, and again, a little bit on the back side. I want this to really be able to kind of puddle and move around. So I'm going to come back to my liquid color first, the lemon drop, and just pick up a piece and just kind of drop it on the background. I can work it in with my pen a little bit, but I'm not worried about it being real proper or real any sort of shape, any dimension. I'll drop some of my pineapple there. So you can see that the color splash sheet really starts to soak it up. I just want fun puddles. I'm going to come back with a little paper towel, excuse my head there. I'm going to wipe away these colors. And then I'll add my pinks next. A little bit of bubble gum. The liquid color is really intense too, so don't forget, you don't need a whole lot. The color splash is not quite as intense, although this watermelon is pretty dramatic. It's pretty fun. You want to work fairly quickly because you want this to still be puddled. Because watch what happens when I pull out some of the watermelon. And you could even mist it a little bit more if you wanted. Some of the watermelon, when I add it, is going to mix with the yellow. And that's where we're going to get kind of our orange splotches. So that's what I want to happen. So don't be afraid to go ahead and mix the color. Again, I'll grab some bubble gum, water it down. See how I'm squeezing the brush and adding some water? So just squeeze your brush and get that water right on out. Pick up some and then drop it onto your color splash. This corner is a little dry. I'm going to add a little more water. Make sure that corner is wet. So see how the water and the color starts to move around? I love that. So the parts where it's going to overlap is going to be a little more orange when it dries. So let me clear off at least part of this block. I might want to keep a little bit of that liquid color there, because when I do the cool pool, I may have to add a little bit more pink back in, right? So my last color is Cool Pool. I just kind of shake it up a little bit and make sure all that pigment is mixed up. You could pour it, but I'm always kind of scared to pour it straight on there. I'm always like, oh, I'll dump the whole bottle. So just be patient and drop a little color on there. Okay. Now again, adding more water from my brush. And then picking up that splash. Now I'm going to hit all those areas where I don't already have color. And again, they can mix and match, swirl around. I might need a little bit more. The color splash sheet really soaks up the water, so don't be afraid about being generous with the water. You could actually even take a little bit of your lovely blue if you still have your lovely blue around. I'm going to kind of do that for funsies. Add a little bit more lovely blue sky back there. Gonna add a little bit brighter blue in some of these spots. And again, coming back with a little bit of your watermelon. Use your grid paper or your splash sheet here to kind of work with the color too. So again, what we're looking for is a real dreamy, watercolory, fun background. I love when it swirls like that. Like the color really swirls and adds together. So pretty. Okay, I think I've just about got enough. A little more blue in this corner. And again, this is really your time to play. Have fun, get messy, let it swirl around. Okay, awesome. I know the camera angle has got a tiny bit of a glare here. So I love how it's puddling. Just kind of want to show you guys that. We're going to go ahead and let it dry. And I'll probably use my heat gun to accelerate the drying a little bit. But how about if I let it freeze frame on that nice, yummy, messy, watercolory fun, and we'll go ahead and dry it and be right back. Hey there. So how's that freeze frame working out for you guys? Good? Because it kind of gives you a chance to stop, get your little thing dry, take a little potty break, get a little snack, a little coffee. I hope it's working out good for you. So we are back with the card, and my background is dry. So let's go ahead and finish up. This is really the easy part, is finishing up the card. So I do want to point out that when mine dried, I got a little bit darker spot right here. So when you think about which way you want to orient your background, kind of keep that in mind, because if you look at the picture in your little booklet here, you can see that we're going to go ahead and cover a part of your background with this big triangle. So keep that in mind when you're kind of deciding what to do with your background. So if you have any parts where you made a little oopsie or something got a little darker than you wanted, perfect opportunity to go ahead and position your triangle there. So let me go ahead and grab out my trimmer, and that's what we're going to do next, is trim the triangle. This already is the right height and the right width for your card, so all you need to do is cut a little angle across. So just go ahead and put it in your trimmer, and you want to match up your two corners, you know, like upper left and bottom right, however you want to figure that out, but you're just going to cut just a straight little angle here. And actually, this would be good for a second card. If you guys want to do the same exact card again, save that piece. Put my trimmer over here. Okay, so like I said, this triangle just kind of goes across the front of the card. Actually, I'll grab this one. Doesn't really matter. And see how that just kind of covers up my little boo-boo where I had a little bit darker watercolor there. So this is going to be popped up with, of course, some foam squares, because why not? I'm going to cut one of my foam squares diagonally so I can make sure that I kind of get into that little point of the triangle. Doesn't have to be all the way to the end, but a little bit farther. And then go ahead and add that to your watercolor background. It just adds a little graphic element to what starts out as to be a really dreamy card front. I love that contrast of the really graphic element of the white on the fun background. So of course we'll need to fold our card base in half. Get my crease tool here. There we go. And then because we never pop up things quite enough. Oh, actually, you know what? Before I do it on the card base, this is one of those things where Kim gets a little funny. I like to add my silk before I go to my card base, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll just pop these here for a little placeholder. And actually, I see that when I did my finished card, that the silk was not on this white panel, so guess what? I'm going to use this as a little mask. You could put silk on it, and that would be just fine. But again, because this graphic nature of this piece right here is such that I really don't want my bubblegum silk on top. So again, I'm just taking my bubblegum, I'm just adding a few splatters here. I'll move my card base so I don't accidentally get it on there. I'm just funny, I don't like silk on my card base. Is that weird? Do you think that's weird, you guys? How about you? Do Do you have that same idea where you don't like silk on your card base? So see, I got one extra drop there. Good thing I had my mask on. I'll just take that away. There we go. Oh, funny, I still ended up with a little piece. Oh, well, it's good. Now that you've got this angle on your card right here, you want to adhere your pre-made DIY hello embellishment. You could use glue dots. I'm going to use the craft glue because I think it'll adhere really well. Whatever adhesive you want. And all you have to do is just follow the angle of the white triangle. Move it down just a little bit. And you've got the perfect little runway for your hello. Kind of want it to be right on the edge, not above or below. So fun, right? Look how that pops against that background. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's so fun. Might have to add a tiny bit more glue to that top piece, but let's go ahead and get it on our card base. Sometimes when you go back and you have to add one more foam dot or one more glue dot to make sure it's perfect. You guys love that background technique? Isn't it awesome? I can see that in all kinds of color combinations. So again, all you have to do is pop it on the card base and we are just about done. A couple little accents. Super fun. The last little thing we want to add is just these little 3 party dots that we had in there. These are enamel dots. And they're really just to add a little bit of texture to our card. Put a couple up in this corner. Do you guys like my one little pink dot? Oh, he's so cute. It's just random. So gorgeous, super fun. I do want to pull the original card out just because I want to show you how different each and every background becomes when you do it. Look at that, how fun. So this one had a lot more pink in here, a little bit of the brighter yellow here. This is the one I just finished. So do you guys see the last finishing touch we're doing on the card? Again, like I said, the thing we like to leave for last, the journey glaze. I thought it would be fun to show you both backgrounds, so just so you know that when your background turns out a little bit different, it's all good. Be gorgeous. Get my journey glaze started here. So the journey glaze, I'm probably going to freeze frame it so I can let you guys journey glaze because I know that journey glaze in the hello takes a few extra minutes. So I want you to take your time and really get a nice even coat on that hello. So I'll go ahead and start it, but then I'm going to freeze frame the camera in just a minute so you guys can take your time. So you just want to run a nice even bead of journey glaze all the way around your words. The journey glaze is dimensional, and that's what we love about it. It really holds its shape, and it will be almost like that raised accent that you want to really complete your embellishment here. So again, I could come back here and fill in a little bit. You guys getting the idea? It's going to take you a few minutes to journey glaze this, but just take your sweet time. Don't rush it. And it'll kind of self-level it out, just so you can see on the H there, where it's kind of leveling itself out. So gorgeous, right? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put my journey glaze here and freeze frame that, and we will be right back. All right, we're back. So hopefully your arm isn't sore from doing all that journey glazing. I bet your card looks amazing. So let's go ahead and show my finished card, and then we're going to do one more freeze frame, and then we are done with card number 2. Didn't that go much quicker, you guys? I hope so. I think the longest part it took was doing the journey glaze, right? So we'll go ahead and freeze frame that, and we'll be right back for card number 3. See you in just a minute. Hey there, and welcome back to FSJ Live, Spring into Summer. We're having so much fun, and we have 2 cards done and 2 more to go. So let's get started. The third card we're going to do is the really fun kind of kitchen-y one. So when you guys got your little card in the mail with the 3 different categories in our new catalog, it was kind of a word scramble. Remember that? Did you guys all do the word scramble? Did you figure it out? Well, this particular card that we're going to do next is from our Sunday brunch section. So I'm sure you guys figured it out. It wasn't that hard. But that little word scramble for one of our sections in the catalog is called Sunday brunch. So I feel like this one's super fun and kitchen-y, and it's just a great set. So we're going to grab out this card kit with our fun little gingham. And then the stamp sets we're going to use, or I should say stamp set, is our brand new bushel and a peck. Oh my gosh, love this stamp set. And talk about a lot of stamps on it. Check it out, guys. We have some amazing sentiments, this cute little colander, bushel basket, not 1 but 2 mason jars, and then all these fun little accents. Just love how we've been loading up these stamp sets with so many fun images. And of course, it did and does come with a matching die, so you may or may not have picked that up. Again, I can guarantee if you didn't, you probably will want to. But anyway, this is the bushel and a peck stamp set we're going to use. So let's kind of get into it. There's really a fun technique with this one, and it's a masking technique. A little bit different than some of the masking techniques we might have shown you in the past, so I think you're really going to enjoy it. It's going to be fun. Let's actually go ahead and start with doing a portion of the card base first. Kind of just got to get that out of the way. Go ahead and crease it with your crease tool. And then we can go ahead and put some of the pattern paper on the back. This is already cut to the right size. Grab my adhesive here. So this is not popped up. This is just straight on the card base. Right in the middle. Love this little gingham. Gingham's like one of my favorite patterns lately. I just love it. I want everything gingham. All the gingham things. That's what we want. So we can go ahead and get your corrugated strip paper, and you want to just tear one side of it. So again, it kind of makes it that little bit of a rustic edge. Almost looks like a little shopping bag. Put a strip of that guy there. You want to just maybe less than a ½ an inch from the bottom, probably about a ¼ inch, really. Okay, goes on there. And then the sweet pattern paper, I bet you guys can't wait to see the whole pack of paper. We're going to show that on FSJ Live. This is just one of the prints that goes with this one in our Sunday brunch collection. The actual pattern paper pack is called Sunday Adventures because we wanted to combine all the fun of adventuring with those fun kitchen elements like farmer's market and shopping for fresh produce, planning your Sunday brunch. So we really had fun designing that paper pack. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. You know what? Actually, I'm going to tie the string later. I'm going to set this aside for now. We've got our cute little circle we're going to stamp in a few minutes, but I want to show you the masking technique. This is going to be really fun. And to do that, we're going to actually need a craft knife and a craft mat. So I want to share something with you that could be kind of exciting. We'll have to see if it actually comes to life, maybe in the big catalog. But we have this prototype of a Fun Stamper's Journey 12 by 12 cutting mat. So take a look, you guys. See what you think. How cute is that, right? So what's fun about this, and again, this is just our prototype we have right now, but we kind of design it so you have the main grid lines for your 12 by 12 here. And then you also have the other side, which has some card size, card front panels on here, 5 by 7, 8 by 10, just some extra measurements. And also the logo on the other side. Kind of fun, right? So again, this side's got the smaller squares, and this is a centimeter measure, because we do know sometimes we're going to need centimeter measuring for certain unique things we're doing. Or then you have your inches on this side. So double duty, double fun. I think it's so pretty. I have done some test cutting on here. I'm telling you, the self-healing part really seems amazing. I'm really super excited about it. And what I'm also going to try out now is this new craft pen. I guess it's called a craft knife. It looks just like a pen, doesn't it, guys? But it's actually got a retractable blade. So let's come in here kind of close. You can see that it's closed right now, but if you do this little notch and notch it over this way, you see the tiniest, cutest little X-Acto type blade come out. I mean, it's not X-Acto because I guess that's a brand name, but it's what we call a craft knife. Got a beautiful, tiny, sharp blade right there. Let me go ahead and retract it just to show you for fun. See, it goes all the way in, super safe. It's actually way down in the barrel, so there's no way you could get hurt with it. And then again, when I open it, pops right out. And yet it's got a really nice feel. It feels like the pen. It feels like it's got this little grip. Of course, if we end up bringing it to life, we're going to want to change this to green. And of course, we want our Fun Stampers Journey logo. But this is just a prototype, but I'm really loving it so far. So I'm going to use it on our Make and Take today. And you guys can tell me what you think. If you think it's like the best thing since sliced bread. I'm pretty sure it is already, but we'll see. Okay, so let's grab out our 2 little jar stamps. So this particular stamp set has the rubber all the way around, which I think is pretty cool because particularly when you have really tiny itty bitty stamps, like that little tiny heart, it's kind of cool that they leave the extra rubber all the way around, so then it's a lot harder to lose those tiny pieces. So let's grab out our bigger mason jar. I guess we don't need both, we only need one. So we're going to do a fun little masking. So what I want to do is I want to stamp the original mason jar on this little guy. These are exactly the same size. You're going to need one for your salt and pepper, so just doesn't matter which one because they're exactly the same. So set one aside, and then this one we're going to do our little mason jar on. And I have a little sticky note here, so any kind of sticky note pad that you have hanging around, you want to grab that out too. So first I'm going to stamp it on my cardstock. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm like, wait, this cardstock's not big enough. Sorry, friends. I need this piece. Scratch that last thing where I said they're both the same size. You want to keep the smaller one for your salt and pepper, set that one aside, and then grab your other piece of whipped cream cardstock, which is big enough to fit your jar. That's kind of helpful. Okay, so we'll come back to this and we'll stamp it pretty much right in the middle. Gorgeous, cute little canning jar. And then I'm also going to stamp the same exact one on my sticky note. Right next door. Whoa, that's like the brightest sticky note ever, right? It's like neon. So again, I want the same exact jar. I'm going to stamp it a little bit closer to the top so I can get the sticky part of the sticky note, right? That's why I stamped it a little bit closer to the top. Okay, so this guy can set aside right now. And this is the one that we're going to want to cut and create our mask. So I'm going to try our little craft knife again. What you really want to do is start trimming around the edge of your jar. You want it pretty close to that stamped line. So we'll try to get in pretty close with the camera. You don't have to cut away that stamped line, but you want it as close to the inside of that line as you can. You can imagine that if you were trying to do this cut with our detail scissors, it could be done, but oh my gosh, it's so much easier with this little craft knife. So again, you're cutting away the inside of the jar. This knife is pretty comfy, guys. It just kind of swivels along. Make sure I get my cut there. Then toward the edge, you don't really want to cut super close to the jar lid, but you want to kind of cut right where you can imagine the top of the jar would be. Oh yeah, pretty good. I'm trying not to block the camera angle. Okay, so I'm going to take away that part. And I think I'll trim away a little bit more of this corner. Again, that's what's so fun about the knife is you can get right in there. Wow, that takes tiny slivers. I love it. I'm going to cut a little bit more of the bottom too. So again, if you guys have a craft knife that you're trying out, or you want to come in with your detail scissors, that will work too. It'll be a little bit more monkey business, but super fun. So what we've done is we've created a mask for the inside of the jar, because when we stamp our little goodies that go in the jar, we don't want them to come all around the edge, right? You don't have to be so fussy, but getting there. So now when you come right around your jar, you kind of want to line it up. A little bit lower. And you can kind of peek and make sure that all your edges are covered. That looks pretty cool. All right. Fun. So I'm going to grab 2 clear blocks to stamp my little tomatoes that are going inside my jar. I'm going to grab 1 block to stamp off on and another block to do my actual little tomato. So let me grab it from my stamp set here. This is going to be a jar of canned tomatoes. You could use any item you want from inside that set. So if you don't like tomatoes, you can use whatever you want. It's got mushrooms and apples and pickles and strawberries. So much fun. I love this set, can you tell? So I'm going to go ahead and stamp it with rich coral on the inside. You can stamp off on a block. You could also stamp off on paper, but it's really going to take a lot of the ink away. So you can stamp off on the block and then just come back in with your tomato. So this is going to really allow us to layer up our tomatoes and look like there's lots in that jar, but they're not all the really bright, rich coral, which, by the way, is what I'm stamping with, if you guys missed that part. So I want to do at least half of them so where they're looking like they're in the background of the jar. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this block away, and then I'm going to stamp some that have got the original rich coral on. So see how they're darker? And then I can go ahead and layer them up, and it looks like I've got all kinds of yummy tomatoes in there. Love that. I'm going to stamp off 1 more for here. 1 more there. So fun, right? We've got all of our cute little tomatoes in there. And of course, it's super fun when you pull the mask away and you do the final reveal. So, dun, 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 dun. Oh, love that. So fun, so crisp and clean. It's a perfect accent to our card. I'm going to go ahead and leave that there, and I'm going to do a quick little freeze frame while I die cut my jar. So if you do have the matching die, you can go ahead and die cut your jar. If you don't, now's your chance to do a little fussy cutting. Practice your fussy cutting. But I'll freeze frame that, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, we are back, and I've got my cute little jar of tomatoes all die cut. So hopefully you've got yours cut too, or fussy cut for that matter. But we're almost ready to assemble the card. Super fun. I think what we're going to do next is do our little colander and our sentiment, and we're on our way. So the colander I actually have already done, so a little bit of a cheater, but all you have to do is grab that other piece of white cardstock that you had, the white whipped cream cardstock, and you're going to stamp it in clear pigment ink, and then just sprinkle a little bit of the silver embossing powder, and look how fun, you guys, this looks like a real colander. I love it. We've got that yummy heat embossed silver powder on there. It looks like a real true blue colander, and of course I use the die because I have it, and I die cut this little guy out too. So he's all ready to go. So I'm not going to freeze frame right now, but I'm going to do it in a few minutes after we assemble the card. So if you don't have this embossed, then you can go ahead and do that at that time. But you guys are ahead of it. I think you probably already have this done. I love that. Okay, so the last few things we have to stamp, and then we'll go ahead and assemble. One of the things we're going to do is take your other little tiny piece of white whipped cream cardstock, and we're going to go ahead and stamp 2 images on that, guys. So be a little bit careful when you do your stamping because we want the little tiny tag from the set, because I can show the index size. So the little tiny tag for your jar and the little salt and pepper, Mrs. Salt and Mr. Pepper. And we're going to fit them both on this card, so on this card panel. So just do your tag first and kind of scooch him way over to the side. Perfect. Take that guy off. And then we'll do the salt and pepper right next to it. So again, you do have room for both of them on there, but just be a little extra careful when you're stamping that one. I am going to go ahead and fussy cut the salt and pepper and the tag, even though I believe the salt and pepper has a die in the die set, but this little guy is super easy, so I'm going to go ahead and quickly fussy cut him out. Or them, I should say. Do you guys ever call him that, Mr. Salt and Mrs. Pepper? This is Which one is which? I don't even know. Maybe it's Mr. Pepper and Mrs. Salt. I don't know. I do know that I was told growing up that when someone said pass the salt, that you always pass the salt and the pepper, because my mom always said they were married. So when you pass them, it's rude not to pass both. Have you guys ever heard that? Is that something your parents taught you? Pretty funny. But I still remember it to this day. I always pass them together. Okay, so on this tag, we get to use that little teeny tiny baby heart that came with the set. Remember the one that I said, try not to lose? So we're going to stamp a heart right in that little tag, using the rich coral again, of course. I'm going to stamp a practice one over here just so I can make sure I've got them positioned on there just right. I'm going to slightly tilt that heart just to give it a little whimsy. And cute! That's going to go on the jar that we finished a few minutes ago. It's going to just hang on the edge of that jar. I love all those little touches, right? Those tiny little touches that maybe if you're not a card maker, you don't even notice them, but I do, so. I'm going to clean off this heart real quick before I accidentally put my elbow in it. That would be pretty classic. Okay, so now we're going to bring our card base back in and stamp our sentiment, and we are ready to assemble. We're almost there. The sentiment is the Season with Love sentiment. I'm going to switch out my block here. Season all things with love. Love that. And when we stamp it on the green circle, we're going to kind of want to go up in this upper kind of right corner, although circles don't have corners, so that's kind of silly, but in this quadrant, how about that? Does that make my math people happy? And again, I'm going to test this stamp and just make sure that it's nice and square on my block. And again, you kind of want it generally up in a upper right side of that circle. Perfect. Do you like how I'm telling myself, perfect? I must be one that needs like those words of affirmation. Perfect, Kim, you did that so good. Wow, look at you. Silly, I know. I talk to myself when I craft. Do you guys do that? I do. Probably a good thing because now I'm talking to myself right now while I'm crafting with you. Okay, so now we're going to start assembling, and we're going to tie a little twine, and it'll be super fun. So the circle's going to tuck in here, and I'm going to go ahead and just trim a little, just a smidge off the bottom of the circle. So we can kind of tuck in here, a little bit more. Kind of use your judgment. Tucking it in here. That looks good. Add some tape runner to the back. Again, the main thing is kind of watch and make sure your sentiment is pretty straight. And all these little cuties we're going to just start popping up, but I think I'm going to add my twine first. So go ahead and grab your little bag of extras, your little bag of twine that Karina and the team have packed for you. And there's some sequins in there, so don't lose those. But this is our Journey Twine Natural. Actually, I should say it's our Journey Thread because it is our thread, not our twine. It's a little bit softer. There's two pieces, so I'm going to take the longer piece and wrap it around my card. So you've got two pieces already pre-cut. Take the longer of the two. I'm going to hold it close to the circle here, and then just go ahead and wrap it around my card base. I want to wrap it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Uno, dos, tres. Then I'll go ahead and tie it in a knot here and just leave it dangling for a minute because that's how I'm going to attach my bow. I kind of want it to be right about there. And I'm going to do one of our famous triple bows, which I do believe Lynn just did another video on how to tie the triple bow. So we're going to have to make sure that that's released pretty quick if it's not already. Because tying the triple bow is super fun. You wrap it around your fingers, making 3 loops. And again, we do have some videos out there how to do it. You come back in and slip it through your last loop. And pull it tight. You've got a super fluffy, fun triple bow. So we're going to lay that there, and then I'm going to use my 2 pieces I had dangling and just tie it off. Maybe I'll do a double knot, make sure it doesn't come flying apart. And these little tails you can just kind of leave. They'll just kind of go where they want to go there. Now you need some foam squares, and we're just going to pop up a few of these elements, and we're almost done. Another thing I do when I'm crafting is make those funny little noises, right? It's probably awfully loud in the microphone. You guys are probably like, no, stop. But it's fun. So we want to nestle the colander right under your word love. Maybe we'll tuck in the jar behind it. This is where you just get to have fun and play around and move your elements around and make sure they're all cute and perfect. It's almost like your little kitchen counter or your little kitchen shelf. Super fun. Kind of tuck my jar of tomatoes in there. Don't forget about Mrs. Salt and Mr. Pepper. Put those by my colander. That just kind of completes your little visual triangle with all three of your elements there. Super cute. And don't forget about your sweet little tag. Actually, I'm going to hang on to my tag a minute because I want to add some journey glaze to the jar. So I'm going to hang on to my tag for just a minute. But I think I will go ahead and put my fashion silver elements. You've got a couple little fashion silvers in your bag. Pop these out. And they just go right down here by your season with love. Woo, these are like tiny little clear sheets. Put 1, 2, and 3. Hopefully you guys aren't losing these. Good thing Karina packs them in a little zippy, otherwise I would definitely lose mine. It would be crazy. Okay, so we're going to add a little bit of journey glaze to our jar because I think that would be so darling. And make it look very much like a mason jar. I'm just going to come in just where it would be the jar. I'm not really going to do the lid. I'm just going to do where the jar is. It doesn't have to be super thick just to give you that glass look. I mean, you could come in here and do it really thick, but it doesn't even need it. And like I said, the journey glaze kind of self-levels. So you just kind of make sure you got all your little spots in there. All right, awesome. So you can see how when I kind of tilt it for the camera, how it's got that fun glossy. Oh my gosh, you guys, it looks just like a jar. I love it. Okay, so typically I would wait till that dries before I add my little heart. But I'm going to kind of just do it on the edge. And just stick it right on. And the journey glaze will help hold it in place. And then the very, very last thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of our silver silk. And I like to do it when the journey glaze is wet right here because I don't even mind if a little bit of splash of the silk goes in there. Make sure it's shaken up. Shooken's not a word. Shaken up. I'm just going to add a few flicks of silver. Kind of be anywhere random on your card. See a little bit landed on the jar, but I love how that looks. Super cute. So wasn't that fun? You've got your own little like kitchen gourmet thing going on there. I love it. And season all things with love. That is like the cutest sentiment ever. The other sentiments on the stamp set are equally adorable. So I know you guys are going to have so much fun with this stamp set and making so many cards and projects. I can't wait to see them. So we're going to go ahead and freeze frame this last card. Oh, I should say the last card for now. We've got one more to do. This is card number 3. I'm actually going to put a little block under there just so we don't catch quite as much glare. And then we'll freeze that, and we're going to be right back with card number 4. See you in a bit. Hey y'all, welcome back to FSJ Live. Do you like how I got that y'all in there? It's still left over from our leadership convention we had in Texas. That was so much fun. But we are back for our 4th and final project. This is really a fun one. You guys are going to have a blast with it. It is doing a little bit of a shaving cream technique to give us a really cool marbled background. So I think you're going to have a blast experimenting with this in many different colors. But what we're going to use today is our media tray. And of course you need your last kit, which is the one with the pool play base. And you're also going to need a can of this, crazy old shaving cream, the good old-fashioned kind. Probably the cheapest kind you can find in the grocery store. Nothing with any kind of scent or anything in it. So just an inexpensive can of shaving cream. So let's get started. We're going to take this media tray dividers out because we want the whole tray empty, because that's where we're going to put our shaving cream. And then when we open our kit, I took a few pieces out already, but we're going to grab out 2 panels we have of whipped cream cardstock. So you have 2 exact identical panels. We're actually going to use both of them for this technique, and then you'll have one extra for another project, or just in case the first one you do doesn't turn out exactly how you like. But I'll walk you through that. The stamps that we're also going to be using in a few minutes is the Small Things stamp set. So we used it in our first card, but now we're going to be using the sentiment and a little bit bigger butterfly. And of course, if you have the matching dies, you want to grab those too. So the shaving cream technique, super fun. What you want to do is just add shaving cream to your, I guess I have to take the lid off, that would help. Silly me. And then just kind of load up, ooh, I'll do it this way. Sorry, kind of noisy. Kind of load up your media tray. This might even be a little too much, but it's good because what you want to do is smooth it down into that media tray. I'm using our crease tool. You could probably use the palette knife. Gosh, you could even use your spatula from your kitchen if you want, but you basically want to smooth out the shaving cream all across that media tray. And we're going to drop some liquid color into it. So we're going to use both Catalina Splash and Lovely Blue. We want more Lovely Blue and a less of Catalina Splash, kind of like we did on card number 1. So Lovely Blue, I'm going to be a little bit more generous. I'm going to do what I kind of call like 5 or 6 shakes. You know, where I kind of get several droplets out. And then the Catalina, I'm only going to do a couple. Maybe 1, 2, 3. You can see right away that the Catalina is a lot more vivid. So you definitely don't need as much of that. So this is so fun, you guys. If you've never tried this, you're just going to love it. So now we're just going to come in with this. Again, crease tool, palette knife, whatever you're using. And just kind of swirl it up. Give yourself some nice blue swirls in that shaving cream. You don't want it real even. You could even go a little bit sideways. What we're looking for is a really fun marble effect. I'm going to kind of wipe off this tool a little bit. That many baby wipes. And then super easy. All you want to do is grab your first panel. And again, this is just plain whipped cream cardstock. It's not our splash sheet, although that would be pretty fun to try too. So you want to press it into your whipped cream. Give it a little push. What it's going to do is going to soak up some of that really fun liquid color. Go ahead and pull it out. Set this to the side, but save that. You're not quite done yet. Oh, I can see I've got a little piece right here that doesn't really have the shaving cream. I'm going to dip it back in. Now make sure that you have shaving cream on your entire piece of card, right? And then again, I'm going to use my crease tool and I'm just going to come back and scrape it away. And watch the magic, guys. Oh my gosh! Is that not fun? You have like the funnest, most instant marble background you ever did see. I'm going to scrape it all away. Now again, really fun, vivid, gorgeous marbled background. But I'm going to do one more pull real quick so you can watch again. And sometimes I like the second one even better. Is that crazy? It's like you do it the first time, but then I've found as I've experimented with this, and by the way, I did this with Riverstone liquid color. Amazing. So pretty. So marbly. I'm just going to swirl this back up again. Sometimes, like I said, the second one turns out even better than the first, so we'll see. Comes out different every time. So again, I swirled it just gently a little bit more. Now I'm pressing my cardstock in again. Just going to kind of make sure it's kind of buried in there. And what's funny is when you pull it and you scrape it off, it really doesn't take that long to dry. I think it's because of the shaving cream's already kind of dry. Grab my crease tool, and again, kind of scrape it off. Oh my gosh, that one's super pretty too. See how some of the color's a little bit gone because you did so much color on that first pull? So I think when you do your second one, it comes out a little bit lighter and a little bit dreamier. Maybe that's why I like the second one better. And that is why I asked Karina to pack 2 pieces of cardstock in your little kit. I've got to grab a baby wipe for my fingers. So what do you guys think? Let's have another camera view of those 2 patterns. And which one do you like better? Do you like the one with more color? So it's got a lot more blue in it, or do you like the softer, more muted one? I don't know. It's so hard to decide. Again, just love them. So you also can take a dry paper towel. I'm going to grab one here. Now, at this point, you can just dry them off because the color is not going to move anymore. The liquid color dries really fast. So you can dry them off, and I'm not kidding. This card is basically dry enough to go straight to your card, that card front. Super weird how it dries so fast. I mean, I will let it sit while we do our stamping of the butterfly and whatnot, but it's pretty dry pretty fast. So we'll move this messy guy away and this messy guy away, and that's going to go to my kitchen sink to get cleaned. That's the best, easiest way to clean up your shaving cream. Just run it under hot water and it all disappears. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have just a little freeze frame of these two panels. So in case you're still experimenting with your whipped cream, or whipped cream. No, don't use whipped cream. Your shaving cream. If you're still experimenting with that, I'm going to freeze frame this, and then you guys can take as long as you want and just hit your remote and tune back in when you're ready. Be right back. All right, we're back. Did you have so much fun with the shaving cream? Oh my gosh, I can just imagine you guys have it like all over your desktop and all over your hands. It's okay, it cleans right up. So to finish this card, really there's not a whole lot of really hard steps left. It's really easy to finish this guy up. So you'll need your card base. Let's go ahead and fold this. Now my crease tool is full of shaving cream, so I'll use one of my pieces of my media folder. That'll work. There we go. Okay, so both of these card fronts, again, you can pick whichever one you like better that you use, and they're both already cut to size. So I'm going to go ahead and use my foam squares and adhere that on. We only did our freeze frame for a minute or two, and my card panel is already dry, so awesome. A few squares. Sometimes it's a tiny bit warped from doing the shaving cream, so I like to put a couple extra foam squares on there. Make sure it's nice and tight. Dink, dink, dink. All right. So again, you kind of pick what way you like your swirls better. I think I like this darker in the bottom. And then just go ahead and adhere it to your card front. Super crisp and gorgeous. This would be a stunning, wedding invitation if you just had a really pretty sentiment that went on top. Gosh, it could be for anything. Love it. So you already have a heart die cut too in your kit, so you can just go ahead and use your foam squares and pop that right up. Do you guys recognize what this heart is from? This heart is from one of our doily. Well, it's not really doily. It's kind of one of our lace hearts. So it's just the outside edge of one of our lace heart dies. So I kind of love the shape of it. It's kind of fun and funky. So it's not our regular heartfelt die. I think I like the heart at a little bit of an angle too. So I'm going to kind of angle the heart and just kind of emphasize that little bit of wonkiness. Is that what you call it? Wonky? So I'm going to go ahead and bring our stamp sets in. But because I already stamped mine and die cut them, I know, kind of a little cheater, right? I'm going to go ahead and freeze frame that, but I'm going to show you which stamp sets or which stamps we used out of the stamp set. So you guys, if you need to, unless you've already done it, I'm going to go ahead and freeze frame it one more time, and then that'll give you a chance to do your stamping and die cutting. So we're doing the one butterfly here, that's kind of the side view, and then we're doing this sentiment, do small things with great love. So both of them are super simple, black licorice ink on your two white panels you have, and then go ahead and die cut them. So I'll just freeze that for just a moment, and I'll be right back. All right, awesome. So I bet you were super speedy doing those two simple stamp and die cut combinations, and we're ready to finish up our card. I love it. This one's so pretty and so classy. So if you want to, you can kind of work your little stamped butterfly a little bit with your fingers to make him kind of be a little bit dimensional, not too much. I've just got like a slight little cupping on him. And so we're going to use a foam square and add him. I'm actually going to put the foam square in the back. I won't pop him on yet because I want to add that cute little twine behind. So let's just set him there for a minute. And then you've got your little Ziploc that's got your piece of whipped cream twine in it and some blue sequins, some of the blue skies sequins. Just kind of dump those out there. And your twine, when you put your twine on this card, it's just going to be kind of right here behind your butterfly. It's just what we call almost like a little string nest. It's almost like making a little twine nest. You can kind of swirl it around or do it any which way you want. Tighten that loop. So just kind of a cute little loopy nest. We just want it right up there. And then the foam squares that are on your butterfly will help hold it down. Actually, I think I'll add one more. This seems like a good idea. I'll add one more here just to kind of hold my string down. And then when I add the butterfly, he just kind of nests right in there. Isn't that sweet? Love it. And then again, super simple. You just want to add your sentiment right next to the butterfly. I'll use my smaller foam squares. We are going to add a little bit of journey glaze and a little bit of silk for those fun accents. I'm going to kind of nest this sentiment in right between his little antennas. Don't you think? So cute. It could be a little, higher or lower on your card. Doesn't really matter. Before I add the sequins, though, I am going to add a little bit of the silver silk. So again, this is the one we used earlier. Just going to add a couple little flicks. Sometimes I feel like a card's not complete without the silk. Do you feel the same way? I do. Again, I'm going to do a little bit off on my grid papers because I want it really light and dainty. So just enough, just a little bit. Sometimes less is more, right? I'm going to add some sequins and then a little journey glaze, and this little cutie is just about done. Again, you have plenty of sequins in your little zippy. You can do more or fewer. I love all the shades of blue in this pack, right? I think we need to bring some more sequins into the journey, don't you think? I always feel like we need more sequins. You guys should leave a comment when we get to the FSJ Live about what sequins you would like to see in the new big catalog. I feel like we need to find some more sequins. I'll put one up here. So cute. Actually, one more because you know what? Odd numbers are best. So I want one more. Sometimes 4 is just not right. You got to have that odd number. I'll put it right underneath my butterfly. There we go. Okay, so like I said, a little bit of journey glaze. If you have some sparkle dust left over from your first card, you can use it. It is very, very light on here, or you could even use sparkle cuts if you wanted. So I'm just going to add some little journey glaze accents. I'm going to go in and do the spots, the cute little butterfly spots, but I'm not going to do the entire butterfly. You could if you wanted, of course, it's your card. You can do any of that. But I think the accents are fun. They just add a little bit of shine and a little bit of glimmer. And I do like to add a little bit of journey glaze to my sentiment. Again, it kind of makes it feel a little dressy because I think this is such an elegant card. The journey glaze is really fun. And again, we usually do this last on the card because then we can set it aside and let it dry while we work on other projects. Oh my gosh, so fun. I do think I want a little bit of my sparkle dust from that card. Just on the butterfly, though, not on the sentiment. This is the bag I have from our very first card. Again, just on the butterfly. I'm trying not to get any on the sentiment. Tap it aside. Oh, I'm so happy with that. Every time I make a card, I think, oh my gosh, that's like my favorite card ever. And I will definitely say that about this card. I love it. So I want to thank each and every one of you that have been part of our morning, whether it's morning for you, afternoon, Or maybe you're watching these make and takes a few days after our FSJ Live. That's certainly fine too. I hope that you enjoyed it. I had a blast teaching you the new techniques, and I know that you'll use these over and over and over again. So super fun. If we are going to see you soon at FSJ Live, be sure to leave a comment. And again, if you're watching this after, that's super awesome too. But I hope you have a great day bringing paper to life and enjoying everything that Fun Stampers Journey has to offer. Thanks, guys. I'll see you soon.